So I know we've asked you a lot, but how have you seen Shedeur develop in these 6 starts?
He consistently improving each week and every day. He's been doing a good job of learning the game, learning the offense a lot more. And he constantly growing.
Do you feel like that connection with him is like been growing? Because I know when Harold went out, Shedeur went to you, won some tough catches. Do you feel like week by week you can kind of growing that connection with him?
Yeah, repetition plays a big factor in this whole thing. So us getting consistent reps with each other throughout the season, that's gonna always help.
It's so early for him, but what do you think his future is?
I don't know. I don't know what his future is, but what he's doing right now is good.
How pivotal is this for you guys to win this last game to get some momentum going into next year?
My bad, I didn't even hear you.
How pivotal is it to win this last game to gain some momentum going into next year?
Yeah, you want to win. You want to finish the season with a win, of course. Builds up a lot of momentum going to the next year with that win. So we want to finish off strong.
Like with the way that you and Shedeur have started to really connect lately, does that really bode nicely for the future for you guys to come back strong and keep that going?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, just once we just keep having those reps with each other, we're gonna learn each other and we're gonna grow from there.
Jeudy, there's so much outside noise right now about what might happen here next year. I guess as players, like, how do you guys block all that out and focus on this week's?
We just don't focus on it, basically. We ignore all the outside stuff because, 99% of it be wrong. So we just, focus what's in the locker room.
Yeah. I know this wasn't
I was going to say, you've been around Coach Stefanski now for 2 years.
Yeah.
How have you seen him kind of handle these 2 years, and then especially, lately with all the rumors around him?
He's been the same coach since I've been here. Through the ups and downs, he never changed. He always stayed consistent, and that's all you can ask for a coach. Just never change. When things are going good, just stay the same. When things are going bad, he stay the same. So, that's great.
I mean, would you like to see him stick around?
Yeah, of course. Well, you want me to say no? Crazy.
I know this year hasn't been the easiest for you and the team. What do you think you can take from this player?
I learned a lot from this year. Patience. Just control what you can control. And just don't let nothing that you can't control affect your mood and your feeling and how you go about your business. Just control what you control and just stick to that. Good? Thank you.
Coach can't step out onto the field. And so I'm a little biased. I think a guy like Josh Allen could have more of an impact because he's the one who's going to cross the white line and actually hold the ball and do it. And so I know we're talking in hypotheticals here, mainly for the reason of what are the Browns going to do and how do they get the right guys in charge of how you can get this thing turned around.
And Brian, to your point, like if the Browns called the Bills right now and said, we'll give you 5 first-round picks for Josh Allen, the Bills would laugh at them. You could offer them 10 first-round picks, they'd turn it down. Whereas if you said, you could get any coach with 2 first-round picks if you wanted, like in theory, if the coach were willing to go. So that it's just, you're always going to take the better player. You know better than anybody how important the coaching is, of course. But to me, when you say the coach is more important than the player, it diminishes what the player is doing on the field.
Yeah, I think Bill always used to have a saying and say, good players can't get past bad coaching. And he would take that and put that on himself sometimes and say, look, I screwed that up. And I always thought that was, for the leader of a team to kind of take the heat like that was always great. And I'm sure this maybe throws some salt in some of the wounds there in Cleveland, but I've watched what Mike Vrabel has done here in New England. And that's a guy who understood what culture he wanted to bring. He understood, and we just interviewed him on our podcast a few days ago, or I guess it was yesterday. And we asked him about his time in Cleveland and what that gave to him. And he said, I had a unique role there. I was helping with the development of young players. I got to see things from a perspective of the young guys in this league. It's different from when I was a young guy in this league. And he said how much that prepared him in this second go around as a head coach. And the one thing about Vrabel, you would say, is this guy's an alpha dog. Like, no one's going to mess with him. And I think when you have a guy who's in that leadership role, that, one, has been in your shoes as a player, and then two, demands a very high level and a high standard of you, but then also loves you up. You saw him out there on Sunday running out to Drake May when he took a shot, and they asked Drake about it. He said, look, he coaches us hard, he's tough on us, but we know he loves us too. And it's a very fine balance. And so I think Vrabel's, EQ, IQ has allowed them to accelerate their process. So I think if you're the Cleveland Browns, how do you find, and look, we don't know what will happen with Stefanski, but if you move on from him, who are you going to find that's going to be a leader of men and rally the troops in an organization that just doesn't matter who's there? It's Jay, I think you said it, like the boss is still the Haslam family. Like, how are they going to get out of the way and hire someone to let them do their job?
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. And to your point about Mike being alpha, and listen, I get the argument about the importance of the quarterback. But the reason why I would, if you're talking all-time great coach, all-time great quarterback, a coach has a shelf life longer than a player, number one. But number two, it's to what Brian was talking about. Mike is the ultimate alpha. He just is. He was that at Ohio State when he was a player. I remember John Cooper didn't need to dispense player discipline. Well, Mike Vrabel did it.
They had three dudes.
They did.
And Finkus, Vrabel, and Fickle.
Yes. And they were the sheriffs on that team.
And they ran the
show.
And
I covered that team. I was there in practice many times, and I watched it. And so,
Jay, Vrabel, as Brian just said, coaches hard. Remember we were talking before?
I love that.
The players today want hard coaching?
Yes, I love that.
Well, Mike Vrabel does it, and it's working.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he's also not like Belichick, and like you
Belichick
said,
didn't give them love.
Correct.
Right, you said he loves you up. Like that's you got to be able to. And Tomlin did. I played for Mike Tomlin. He did that too. I was with him for a short period of time, but he would be hard. He would smack you on the rear end, but then he'd pat you on the back.
And I think, Brian, we talked about this earlier about the difference in mentality of today's player versus the player when you played, what the mentality was, and then even go back to the 70s. It's clearly different. And I think what I really appreciate about Mike is Mike played for Belichick. He knows how hard a coach he can be. I think Mike's smart enough to read the room and to kind of gauge the mentality of today's players and know that Belichick's style wouldn't work today. There'd be too many revolts within the locker room. So Mike added the gear of tough love, but a loving father, too. And I think he pulls that off as well as anybody. And to the point of, they had Drake May last year, a great quarterback. They add Mike Vrabel to the mix, and suddenly they're in line to get the 1 seed. Not many folks thought that was possible last year when they were winning 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And look, through the span of 15 years, you see a lot of change and transition in the way that